Hello there, Vic Benedict here. We're playing Conan on the King difficulty, and this is my guide and walkthrough. At the beginning of what I was saying there, I meant to say that we were playing on the PS3, but I don't like to say that because I don't like to I don't like to promote one system and make it sound like this is the better experience unless it truly is, and I don't think it is because the experience from what I've heard is about similar. So. And that's considering that I have an SSD now in my PS3, and this game still loads like fucking shit. But this chapter is amazing. I really like this chapter. It's called Elephant Graveyard, so you can probably take a guess what type of animal or creature we're going to be fighting as the boss for this chapter. And remember, it's called Elephant Graveyard. So apology time, guys. I think it was somewhere on chapter 4's video when I was trying to figure out what the red triumvirates are for, and if they had just fucking told you what it was, the way they tell you what the health and the magic ones are for, I would have known, but and the thing is, the colors don't match, so that's probably what confused me. And maybe they do match at the end. Yeah, they match, because the yellow bar starts out yellow and then it turns red. Okay, I understand that. So the red triumvirates don't have to be pressed in any certain order. They don't give you experience orbs. They are for the Song of Death meter, that rage meter below the health meter. So that's my fucking bad. I didn't realize that. How could I not have known that? I must not have looked at it well enough, or even, I don't know. I was just confused. So I'm sorry about that, guys. So I bought like 5 combos at the beginning of this chapter. One of them was the heavy finisher with the sword. One of them was the two-handed weapons, let's see, what is it? Triangle, 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 triangle. And a couple of other moves like the elbow stun, which is square triangle, and the Cimmerian charge, which is square, square, triangle. And that is for those latter 2 moves are for the sword only, not for the dual wield or for the two-handed. And this is a little protection sequence here, but it's nothing to worry about at all. In fact, it's really fun. Because when you kill that guy and then one of the guys with the large paddle weapons, you'll have an imp coming out, maybe 2. I love the imps. This is the planet of the imps, guys. And I'm going to show you the reason I really like this enemy. So anyway, let's first take out one of these guys first. See, when you have these, see that archway in the distance there? These guys should be busting out of somewhere. Yeah, there they come. Oh, they went from the left and from the right. Okay. But I feel bad that I didn't know what that red triumvirate was for. So we've got 2 imps over here, and I'm trying to lead them away from Akana, but they're not really doing what I wanted them to. And they like to play the drums. Look at them. They're playing the drums. They love to play the drums. It's one of the things that's kind of annoying about this enemy as much as it's a really cool enemy. And see, when they're playing the drums like that, if you try to move to one side of them, they'll actually track you. It's a little bit of a slow tracking process, but they do track you. So you can't like go to the side of them or behind them because they track you. And I don't really mind that. It's kind of a stupid thing that they do because they play the drums for a long time. It just goes on and on and on, and I'm trying to buffer attacks in the distance, and if I have to cancel out of it, I will. But do you see what happened there? What they do is they do a roar, they back up a little bit, and then they charge you. And then if you press circle at the correct time, you can interrupt them, and then you attack them, and then you stab them in the throat. It's so fucking cool. This enemy is amazing, and look at the blood effects on this enemy too. You really wouldn't expect that in a game like this, but it's right there in front of our faces. But the best way to, okay, see this? And if you see a question mark on it, it's because you're out of the range of the enemy. So you have to close in the distance, and then that question mark will turn into the correct QuickTime event. So that's what that means. If you're ever curious whether it's on a boss or it's on an enemy, that just means that you're out of range. So you need to get in range, and then you'll have the button to press, and it's always circle, but when you jump on them to stab them, it's a different button, ranging from either one of the 4 face buttons. And I only say that because sometimes you might not be used to pressing X in the QuickTime events, because if you're aware of the riposte buttons, they're not any of the X buttons, they're the other shapes. And these little skull stalagmites, I think those are what they're called, the skull stalagmites. Those give you a little bit of health. That's what the message in the center of the screen a moment ago was saying. Now, there's a little bit of a timing and a little bit of luck and a little bit of precision to pressing the circle button when they charge you, but you can negate all of that if you just continually spam press the circle button. So that means that when you see the circle button, if you're just spamming circle, you'll get it every time. It doesn't matter anything about that. Just spam press the circle, and you'll be pretty good to go. And then as long as you get the next QuickTime event right, you'll instantly kill them. Now the guy to the left, let's see if we can get this. Oh, okay, yeah. At this point, I didn't realize that you had to spam it. You don't have to, but that's just my advice. It works better if you spam it. This guy's a rock thrower. He doesn't do the charge, and he's pretty deadly when he does his ground slam. So, and he wears jewelry too. I don't know where he got that. Piece of shit. Stealing jewelry, motherfucker. Anyway, so the checkpoint is, I think, pretty good over here, so you shouldn't have that much trouble. I'm also doing a move called the Barbarian with the dual wielding weapons, and that is square triangle. And we are going to be getting some more MP in this chapter, so we'll be able to use the magic twice. So by the start of the next chapter, we should have 3 squares of MP at our disposal. Be aware of this chapter because there's a lot of these type of enemies with the shields, the shamans. So also the checkpoint, if you die here, is before the previous battle, so you'll have to do those imps again. And feel free to use the magic on the imps. I enjoy fighting them so much that I don't use the magic on those guys, because these guys are far harder than the imps. Not these guys here that we're killing with the press of a couple buttons, but these guys here, they're tough. And don't pay any credence to what the loading screen says about the dual wielding weapon not being able to block attack, or excuse me, to break people's shields, because you clearly can break shields and break guards with the dual weapons if you do heavy attacks. It doesn't know what it's talking about, so don't even worry about that. You can break people's guard with the dual weapons. I just broke this bastard's shield with my dual weapons, so that loading screen is full of shit. So we've got a fork in the road here. You can go left or you can go right. You don't want to go left though, because there's a save stone over there to the right, which I think I'm going to go hit right now. As we move past this rock thrower here. I don't understand too why the red triumvirates upgrade your Song of Death meter, because that has a good Anabat effect, wouldn't you think? Because if you increase the length of the meter, that means even though you can use it longer, it takes longer to build it up. So I'm almost trying to think maybe you shouldn't upgrade it, but maybe, I don't know, it's one of those weird things. Like, stop playing the drums, man. It's so fucking overplayed. I'm trying to master this particular move because it's a really cool move, and it has a lot of recovery to it, and it kind of slows down the character when you use it intentionally as an effect, but it's a really cool move. It's something you can easily do really quickly too. We're also going to be picking up a bunch of whores in this chapter too. Okay, so let's head up this slope, get that whore that I was talking about. And I don't say that lightly, guys, because that is an extremely derogatory term, but you should see what these whores are saying these days. It's just incredible. So, I mean, I didn't like this enemy at first because I didn't understand when I saw that question mark, like what was going on with that. Because I know the flying enemies, which is a really prolific enemy at the end of the game, and maybe sooner than that. It's such a wasted opportunity of an enemy. The flying enemies that are coming up, really hard to deal with too. I haven't found a good way to deal with them, but they have question marks too, and I just didn't realize that I was out of the range and needed to get closer to them to find out what that question mark was all about. But I do know now. So I don't think I ever at any point in this chapter pick up a two-handed weapon, because I really was going full swing with this weapon. No pun really intended, but it was one of those things too. This woman should be, yeah, she's vanished. And for the second time, for the second boss, what the fuck, the boss for this chapter, it has two phases. Okay, so the second fucking phase, I got there and I just had hardly any life, and the game, it refuses to give you any health back. So, and sometimes it would, like sometimes it would respawn me and I would have like so little health that I didn't have any health in my gauge, and I had like one hit every time would kill me, if anything. And then other times, that was, I don't know what happened there. Sometimes it's kind of clunky to work, but as long as you stand still and you're in range and you spam the circle button, you should always get to kill those guys instantly. So, oh, we've got another starlet down here to save. And this should be another save point area coming up. So the boss, and like I was saying, other times it would respawn me and it would give me a kind of a fighting chance with a little bit of health, and there was also some of these skull stalagmites to smash and get a little bit of HP back that way. But it was a situation where I had to restart from the save stone and get back to the boss and do better on the first phase, so that in the second phase I had more HP. It's one of those annoying things that on the lower difficulties, when they refill you incrementally, you don't have to do that. So that's one of the reasons that this difficulty is hard, because most of the time, and I'm not going to say all of the time, because sometimes they do give you some health back, and I don't understand it. It seems to be a little not broken, but it's just not consistent, let's say, because if you're not going to give me any health back, just why are you giving me health back some of these other random times? But we've got a couple of these paddle wielders over here, whom I'm going to execute as quickly as I can, and then we'll take care of this guy who got in a really cheap hit from behind me. So one of the reasons too that I thought that those red triumphant circles gave you experience orbs was because when I was rewatching, when I got those circles, when I got all three of them, I was expecting something like orbs to come into me or something. So and I was on the forums looking at what I know now is erroneous information. So anyway, let's see if we can get this guy. I think at this point I had learned to spam the button. Okay. I just really like this chapter. I think this chapter kicks ass. Okay, so we're going to go to the left. This is probably going to end in a dead end, but this is the location of one of the blue triumvirate circles. So we'll come back here, but let's just at least come over here, kill whoever's over here, and get some health, and then we'll come back over here, remembering which area this circle's at, so that we can get it later. Oh, anytime also when I'm fighting these enemies and I'm attacking the air, it's because I'm trying to buffer my inputs because it's really hard to get away with pressing the triangle button 4 times on an enemy in this game, because they always interrupt you. Okay, I didn't know to spam the button, so I pressed it at the wrong time. So when you're spamming the button and you're constantly pressing it, there is no wrong time, because you're pressing it almost at all times, so that's why spamming the button works. And I'm not using a turbo controller or anything like that to guarantee my inputs, because I actually sent it back. I wasn't happy with it, and it was it was just horrible. It was not reliable at all. So here's another starlet over there waiting for us to come over and let her go. Okay, so yeah, I didn't know to spam it at this point. It's kind of a funny enemy too, just because it does like to play the drums like that. Okay, there he is, pounding on his chest like King Kong, and we're gonna get these buttons correct. I find that fun. I really do. I like it a lot. Okay, so here she is. We'll pick her up. I'll have to remind myself later to edit that out. I don't know how I'm gonna edit that out though. Fuck. Okay, so there's another imp up here, and most of these battles can be fled from, but you really don't want to do that, because the last battle is not as easy to escape from as you think, and you don't want to be trapped killing a bunch of enemies like at the same time when you're really not in the best position to do that. So just stab him, and we'll move over here. And there should be, let me see, there's a rock throw over here, and then there's one more imp, so I think I might be using my stone armor to shatter this guy, but maybe not. They don't really need to have that done on them unless you just want them out of your way quickly. Okay, so he's done. There's going to be one more guy dropping over here. Chug away on the health jug. Come up here. He should be dropping right here. And we'll come... let me see. Are we going to come back up here? So when you're waiting for him to stop doing his drum attack there, you can throw things at him would be my only advice, because you can't really do anything when he's, you got to wait for him to finish. Okay. Now we're going to go up to this boulder and just push it down this little slope over here, and then at the bottom of the slope they checkpoint it. Here we go. You do have to do that, because and that also would mean that the last fight can't be skipped either. So this looks like a really good opportunity to stone shatter people, so I'm going to try to stone shatter these shamans. And let's see. Beautiful. Fucking beautiful. Just, those are the hard guys. So I don't care about these guys. These are nobodies, because they can be instantly killed. Be careful of these guys, because they don't always throw rocks. They have a lot of melee attacks that they do too. Okay. Okay, so in that area over there where the chain is for the door, there's a health jug and another blue triumvirate. And I think it's going to be pretty soon where we go after the MP upgrade. That one missed. You have to admit these guys are pretty ugly, but they're fun to fight, but they're pretty ugly. Okay. Alright, this is going to raise the gate in front of the door. So, well, maybe the last fight can be skipped. It's not that hard anyway. So there's the first one. And we're going to retrace our steps. Here's the second one. And I'm sorry that I told you guys wrong information. That really is something that I don't sit with that easily. I don't like that. Not only is it somewhat embarrassing, but I don't like giving out information that later, you know, we all say things that, you know, we later learn is not exactly true. So now we have 2 squares. Feel free to use this as much as you. Beautiful. I can't believe that works so well. You don't need any of that for the boss because there's nothing about the boss that will take to that. So feel free to use that as much as you possibly can and want to over here. There should be a refill over there too. So there we go. And now we have one more. This could have been a huge fight. Like, look how spacious this area is. But fortunately, they don't throw too much at you. They've got a bunch of these rocks over here. So I would just start picking up rocks. In fact, I think there aren't many other enemies except these imps over here. And you might even be able to skip these guys too. Is that everybody? Yeah. That other imp must have got killed by the rocks too, so just pick these up, get them out of the way, open the door. Make sure you have a bunch of health for this boss fight because the boss fights, they're not that hard, but they take away a lot from you, so that's why it's hard at the end of the day. So here's the boss. It's called the Elephant Demon. This is a boss fight that, this is actually harder than the next phase in my opinion. You basically want to look for him to do this. Everything else, when you go up to him and start attacking him, he likes to drop rocks on you. So you can be hitting him and then mid-combo, rocks are dropping on you. And then when he does that breath attack, just do not be anywhere around it. It deals some pretty decent damage to you. So, and sometimes the rocks don't even hit him. I'm just grabbing them because they happen to be around. I think only one time I damaged him with a rock, and it was when he was doing his toxic breath. So there are really good times to attack this boss and not so good times, and just really watch out for those tusks because they can hit you from a long way away. So I'm only going to attack this guy. He's also got this shockwave attack too that you simply jump over, but you really just want to wait for him to do the attack where he puts his face down for a long. See that? Like you don't want a bunch of those hits to stack up and cause you to have very little damage. Like this. See, he's very vulnerable for a long time, and that's what you basically want to do. So I would almost say don't hit him unless he does that, and I'll show you and then see his eyes turn blue to red. And then the camera will pan over to either side, and then this is not a physical attack, although yeah, I mean it is and it isn't. You just have to be in the air when he's attacking, and then jump up to him, press X, and then press over an X to jump up here, and you're going to send down some fire on him, and then when the cutscene is over, you'll be on the ground again, and then you've got to do that one more time before you go into the next phase of the boss fight, and you don't get a checkpoint here. So really watch out for those tusks, guys. I can't stress it enough. And the tusks and the falling rocks and the breath. See, I wasn't that close to it. I mean, it still hit me. I mean, yeah, just watch out for the breath. So a lot of bosses in this game are gimmick bosses, sort of like this. I don't like to say that because it's disparaging. Well, then why are you saying whores, motherfucker? I don't know, man. I don't know. How that didn't hit me is amazing. Yeah. And all I'm doing is using triangle attacks as well, so Just keep jumping over the shockwave. Get out of the way of the tusks. I can't stress how much those tusks take off, guys. Okay, so here his eyes changed color. The camera panned to the left. Hit the stone, the skull stalagmite. Wait for him to do his headbutt. Just jump. Press square in the air for more hang time. Do the same thing. Just get the skull stalagmite up here. Hit the chain. And it's going to drop on him. And then once you cross this bile pit over here, which you don't want to stand on, obviously, it deals damage to you. We're going to tread his carcass and then get a checkpoint. So this next phase is it's 3 acts, but it's really kind of simple. It can be nightmarish if like me when you first got here you only had like 2 hits or maybe even 1 hit. But okay, so there's 2 skull stalagmites over here and 1 to the left. There's a couple of items over here as far as weapons, but you'll probably know what you want to use by now. And see this attack? That's all you want to wait for. Just like the last phase, you really only want to hit him when he does that. And what happens is he drops his face really quick. That tells you that he's going to do the move that has a lot of vulnerability for him. If he drops his head a little bit more slowly, see that one there? That instantly tells you that he's going to do that. And then his eyes change color. Just jump and then press circle to do the QuickTime event, and then you've got 3 QuickTime events each time. Well, 2 after the first. Maybe it's 3. It's 3, and then this is the phase 2 of 3. And then it takes him an eternity to get up after that. So about the breath, I can't really tell you too many good places to stand because there are these pits over here that you can't stand on, and which you just knocked me into. There's also this, so you can hit that for more HP as well. You can also throw weapons at him too, and then just combat roll up to him and just keep pressing triangle, and you deal hefty damage. So what happened is I got to him, like I said, the first time I had to start from the save stone again, retread all my steps, get here, get hit less in the previous phase, and then come here, and I raped him. But trust me, I was on this guy for 50 minutes. It's lame. Before I started to think maybe it would actually be quicker to just start from the save stone and do better on the last phase. And I suspect that's going to be a common trend on this walkthrough, having to redo sections and get to the boss and do better. But he has the same attacks. Just watch out for the falling rocks, and just beware his breath. Jump over his shockwave, and just keep chomping away on his face. So far, this is my favorite chapter. Just hands down. Fun enemies, cool environment, decent boss. Not bad of a boss. Okay, here he's sending down more rocks for us. He's going to drop his face quickly, so just it's pretty simple. Like, we're only waiting for him to do one thing, and then, just move back and forth. The rocks are either going to hit you or not. It's not that unfair. It's pretty decent. I don't have that many complaints.